It would be.
I, and it has been for me. Thank you.
All right.
I've been taking advantage of that and
Thank you.
meditating a lot. And I remembered also that we had talked about once imagination being a great tool for elevating my frequency, and using the marker of the visitation that I had 10 years ago, and remembering
Yes.
that. And
May I ask you a question?
yes.
Are you experiencing stress?
At times, yes.
Why?
Um, my life has changed drastically.
Why should that cause stress?
There's still a lot of uncertainty.
Why? Uncertainty about what?
My future.
Do you have to be certain about what's going to happen in order to know that whatever's going to happen is going to serve you in a positive way?
No.
Then why are you so focused on the specifics instead of allowing for the holistic understanding that whatever happens, you're going to be able to use it in a way that serves you? Knowing that, why would you need to know the details?
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Yes.
All right. Let go of that need, because that's another form of insistence. That's like saying, I will not relax until I know exactly what's going to happen. But you never will know exactly what's going to happen. Not exactly.
Right.
But you have to know that whatever it is, you'll be able to remain in a positive state, and that means it's going to serve you. And there would be no other outcome. So who cares what it looks like? Who cares what it is if you know you have the ability to use every single thing that comes your way, no matter what it looks like, in a way that actually will serve you positively? Who cares what it looks like in that case? Yes?
Right.
So why the need to know? Why the insistence? Why are you not a friend of uncertainty?
I think the stress that comes up is that I believe that I should be doing something.
Well, yes, you can be doing something, but the idea is to take action on whatever contains more excitement than anything else. That's all you need to do. What's so complicated about that?
Yes. As I was saying, everything's changed so much, and I'm trying to
So,
figure it out.
well, what do you mean? It's not difficult. Remember when we talked about the idea many, many times of acting on your passion? We didn't necessarily mean it had to be a career or a large-scale project. We meant at every moment you have options available to you that are simple, everyday options. Taking a walk, reading a book, talking to a friend, eating a meal, watching a movie. Just pick the one that has more attractiveness, more excitement, even just the tiniest bit more than any other thing that you have the ability to take action on, and do that first. And when that one is up and you can take it no further, or there's no more excitement in it, do the next thing that contains more excitement, even on an everyday level. What is so difficult about that?
There's not. And I've been doing that, but I've been guilty about not working because I've been meditating all day.
Well, is there something that you would love to be doing that you're not doing?
Mm.
If you could do anything, what would you choose to do that is more than what you're already doing?
I've been doing those things.
What?
They just don't necessarily go along with my job, and I'm trying to do my job. That's all.
But are you saying that your job either is not representative of your excitement, or you cannot figure out a way to make it more exciting? Is that what you're saying?
No, and I am making it more exciting, and it's evolving and shifting, and as I
Then
allow,
what's the problem?
there is no problem. It's just been stressful at times.
But why? If it is stressful, then there is some difficulty in your belief system about your relationship to it.
Yes.
What is the difficult definition you're creating that creates the sensation of stress? Is it that you believe you would rather be doing something else?
At times, and I think I've defined what my company was supposed to be doing, and I have to redefine what success means to me.
All right. Well, again, remember that you have to also give yourself the opportunity to act on things that might be more representative of your excitement. If there are certain components of your job that you do find exciting, but other components that you don't, then again, it's up to you to either figure out if you can make them more exciting or change them in ways that would be more exciting, or ask your company to change them in ways that would make them more exciting, or even start your own business in a way that would be more exciting.
Yes.
But you have to act on something.
I am. Yes. Yes.
In order to give your excitement a chance to prove to you that it can support you.
Yes.
So don't stress yourself out. The stress is coming from your degree of reluctance and resistance to actually act in the directions that you know you prefer. Are you afraid that something bad will happen if you do take action on your passion?
I'm afraid I'll fail.
What does failure mean? How can you fail at being yourself? That's all this is about. You can't be anything other than yourself. So how can you fail at being yourself? Because that's what acting on your passion means, being your true self. You can't fail at being your true self. Even if the outcome isn't what you expected, you still haven't failed because you're still experiencing that as yourself.
Yes.
In a sense, failure is an illusion. There's no such thing. There are always learning experiences, if you want to define them in a more positive way, that can help guide you and refine your activities to make sure you're more dialed in to what you would really rather be doing. But you don't have to define it as a failure, because that definition simply doesn't work for most people. And it's not even accurate in many, many ways. Is this helping?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right.
Being so confident.
Stop being so hard on yourself.
I know. Okay.
You don't deserve it, and you don't need it.
Thank you.
It's not working for you. You know that because you feel stress. The stress is coming from being judgmental of yourself, being so hard on yourself. That's where it's coming from resisting your natural self. Because you're afraid that you're going to fail at being you. That's not possible. It's not possible. You are laboring under a false premise.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, pick yourself up and start acting in ways that you would really prefer to. And even if things don't go the way that you thought they would, that's not a failure. It's an opportunity to understand how to refine yourself. Yes?
Yes.
You've heard us tell the story about the light bulb and Edison, yes?
Yes.
Well, why doesn't that apply to you?
It does.
Then act like it does. Yes?
Yes.
Be the inventor of your reality. And if this path, well, doesn't lead where you thought and you prefer something else, and that path doesn't lead where you thought and you prefer something else, continue to refine. Remember, the process is the point. The only point. The only point. The journey is the destination. You have nowhere else more important to be than being with whatever's happening in your life at this moment.
Right.
Therefore, you're doing just fine if you stay in the moment with it and learn from it and let it guide you to the next action that you will take.
Yes.
That can never be a failure. Yes?
Yes.
Does this help?
It does.
All right. Anything else, or do you have what you need to move forward?
I had another question. I was wondering if you could define what it really means to be in love and in a relationship.
It means being in complete harmony with the vibration of existence itself. It means living perfectly in the moment and allowing and accepting whatever is happening to be the thing that can serve you. The idea of being in a relationship is one of the basic needs, but it doesn't necessarily mean being in a relationship with another human. The idea can be with anything, even with the cosmos, even with all that is. Knowing that you are connected, knowing that the people and whatever comes into your life comes in for a reason, but you don't always necessarily know what that reason is. Let the relationships be what they are rather than imposing a structure on them in terms of what you think they ought to be just because of how you feel. But be in harmony and in relationship with yourself first, because if you're not there, you're only going to get reflections of being out of a relationship with yourself.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Love you.
Our unconditional love to you.
Thank you.
A go-between between the government and the people at large on a parallel version of Earth.
Yes.
I was curious as to if you can give us an example, just to give us kind of the gist of what that council, how they express themselves, an example of maybe like a topic or a theme and how they bring information to the masses.
They amplify synchronicity and thus make obvious what the next path is.
Okay, and when you say amplify synchronicity, what is their action that amplifies the synchronicity?
First and foremost, of course, always acting on their own synchronicity and following their passion as the formula that we've given all of you.
Right.
But because they have come together with a specific intent in a certain state of being that you might want to call meditative of a sort, they have the intent to focus on the idea of amplifying synchronicity and making synchronicity more obvious for those that they have agreed to serve, which would be your population. So more synchronicity will abound in your reality, making it more obvious for people in general to understand what they need to act on and when and how.
I see. And is their main form of service expressed in communicating what's unfolding with humanity and their interactions with extraterrestrials and dispersing that in a way that is digestible to the public?
Sometimes, yes. It's not always necessary because following the synchronicity will usually bring you to the same understanding. This is simply a version, an early version of what we experience in our reality because we have said that our society operates on pure synchronism. We are always exactly where we need to be, when we need to be there, interacting with exactly whom we need to interact, doing exactly what we need to do in perfect timing. So this is the idea of the entrainment of allowing your population to experience a similar thing until it becomes automatic within your society.
Okay, so this council is more examples of what does it look like to operate in more pure synchronism, and that's their main form of service.
Correct.
I see. Okay, great. My second question is about collective belief system in regards to social distancing and wearing of masks.
Yes.
And so is it true, first, just to give this collective belief system, then I'll go into the question, that the belief that we have collectively that wearing a mask and having social distancing is more responsible for the virus not spreading than the physical action itself?
Yes.
Yes. And since that is a collective belief, is it also accurate to say that even if my beliefs say, I don't need social distancing, I don't need a mask, even if that's my individual belief, since the collective belief is what it is, that it might be a path of least resistance to, in a sense, go with that flow rather than to resist it in a way to uphold my personal beliefs?
Yes, because for most people on your planet, it's not really immediately evident whether or not you truly believe that you don't agree with the mass consensus.
So you're saying that that could be such an unconscious belief. You can consciously think, oh, I don't believe that, but you might not be aware that you're holding on to unconscious beliefs that might still have a little fear or...
Correct.
Right.
Therefore, the path of least resistance would simply be what has been offered to you as a way to ensure that you will experience what you really prefer to experience. That way, it becomes part of a belief system that fits with the idea of what you prefer, rather than resisting the system because you might be unaware of unconscious beliefs that would connect you to the collective consensus belief that without those things, you might actually be in danger.
I see. So instead of having the perception, I need to sacrifice my personal beliefs to fall in line, which a lot of humans right now are perceiving as a violation of their freedom. What they're really saying is, it's not that my freedom is being violated, it's that I may not be capable of understanding my deepest unconscious beliefs. And so this is just a path of least resistance. I'm still free.
Correct. And also remember that many people who express the idea that their freedoms are being violated are not actually recognizing that it's not about them. It's about the idea of not putting others in danger. So if someone is actually saying they have the right to endanger others, if they is put to them in that way, most of them would have a second thought about what it is they're calling their freedom, because they don't necessarily have the right to endanger others.
Right, I see that. And so for the people that might be following their excitement, let's say they're not wearing masks and consciously are saying, well, this is what feels right and free to me, and they don't have the intention of endangering others. And then this is like when you talk about metaphysics being just dangerous enough to keep us in a loop. If they have the belief that says, well, everything happens for a reason, if they're going to get the virus, they're going to get it regardless of if it's from me or another reflection. Is that just kind of a way to...
In a sense, yes, because really, if that is something that they really truly believe they need to attract to themselves as an experience, wearing a mask and social distancing won't prevent them from getting the virus.
Right.
Anyway, so the idea is, again, it's about humility. It's about understanding that you may not be in touch with all of your deep unconscious belief systems. Mm-hmm. It's about going on the path of least resistance, going with the flow in general, and being responsible to yourself and to others by understanding that the path of least resistance can sometimes be something that you yourself are resisting for the wrong reasons.
That makes a lot of sense. I get it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I don't know, I know that there's a restriction or a limitation for our own good on how much you can even comment on anything political. So this is not as much about political specifics, but more about the energy of, if every version of reality exists, then depending on, is it more important around, quote, who I vote for versus the state of being that I'm in and why I'm voting, which might then attract to me a version even of, for example, the current president that might shift in relationship or as a reflection of the state of being that I'm shifting to. And that's a little, more.
As we have said, it's about taking the actions you would take in the world you prefer to live in. And in a world you would prefer to live in, you would simply take the action to make your particular voice or vote heard in the direction that you would prefer.
Right.
Remember that the idea for many people on your planet is they believe or think that not expressing themselves in some way, shape, or form is not an action. That's not true.
Right.
So just to put it in your political terms, not voting is a vote.
Right. Totally get it.
All right.
Can you comment on the current president if he were to stay in office? Can you comment?
I cannot.
Okay. Second question here. This is about free energy. I'm just going to move through these ones a little fast here. The star tetrahedron structure, I believe this is referring to the Perpinski gasket.
Yes, in a Merkaba form.
Right, in a Merkaba form. The spheres nested inside, did they need to be...
No. It's nested inside the spheres.
Oh, right. It's nested inside the spheres. Do the spheres themselves need to be insulated?
Yes.
They do. Okay.
Yes. And again, they need to be spaced apart at least at three levels, according to the phi ratio of 1 to 1.618.
Right. Okay. So that brings me to the second question. the ratio between the spheres, is that equal to 1.41%, or is there a different?
What I'm saying in the language that we can deliver to you is that the first sphere that is encapsulating the Merkaba shall only be separated from the Merkaba by the insulation, but the next sphere must be 1.618 times the first sphere. And the next sphere, 1.618 times the second sphere, and so on.
Got it.
Now, they are all connected by the spike antenna coming from the top and bottom of the Merkaba, which is also insulated as it passes through the spheres.
Right, right. And what would be the ideal insulation substance?
Oh, it can be rubber. It can be anything that's non-conductive.
Okay, great. And what would the minimum size of the Sierpinski Merkaba be to be effective?
Well, in order to really start having some sort of measurable effect for the level of technology you have, it would probably be best to have something that's at least about a foot in diameter.
Okay.
But ideally, if you really want to start getting up in different power levels and the ability to transform different power levels into something that's usable energy for you, we would suggest you be closer to something that's about 3 feet in diameter.
Okay, great. Thank you. And the spheres, the spheres inside of the octahedron.
The spheres inside of the octahedron?
Well,
you mean the Merkaba is inside the spheres?
Yeah, I think this is a question that was, the context for the question is actually I'm a little confused on, so maybe we'll pass that one.
Well, but simply, Merkaba, sphere, sphere, sphere. There are no spheres inside the Merkaba.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does.
All right.
Another question that's just coming to mind now is, in more similar, more relevant parallel versions of Earth where there are where our collective is experiencing the virus, were there any protocols, shifts, or even cures, or even social shifts in perspective that allowed them to accelerate through this change?
Absolutely, but I can't tell you what they are.
Okay.
You have to get there on your own by following the formula.
Right. Okay.
And examining your own belief systems. And also recognizing and taking responsibility for why this is happening in the way that it is with respect to your relationship to Earth.
Right.
And the things that have been done to your planet.
Right. Which a big part was our own environmental degradation. And
yes.
Right. Right.
So when you have learned those lessons and take them to heart and start acting in ways that are more representative of the other realities that you prefer, you will shift yourself and navigate yourself in those directions.
I see. And just to speak into our connection with nature,
your connection as nature.
Thank you.
That's one of the big things you need to understand.
Yeah, thank you. As an extension of nature, yeah. What role will the Sasquatch play in our steps towards making contact with extraterrestrials?
Most likely when there is the landing of the hybrids and the interaction of the hybrids that begins with humans, and the revelation that there are also elementals on your planet that you can start interacting with more openly because of the interaction you develop with the hybrids, the Sasquatch will also recognize that as the timing to begin to interact more openly with you as well.
So they'll happen pretty simultaneous.
Well, relatively speaking, yes.
I see. Okay.
That doesn't mean in the blink of an eye, but yes.
Right. So I had an experience recently here in Bell Rock where I was walking back from Bell Rock and I was in this, it seemed almost like a little bubble reality oasis point.
Yes.
And I looked to my right and I saw a hybrid, what I perceived to be a hybrid child emanation, who as soon as I looked over and we made brief eye contact, that emanation disappeared. And I ended up taking a picture of the area, and it was this beautiful, massive rainbow aura. Can you comment on what hybrid child that was for me?
Not directly, but obviously one you have a connection to.
Right. And it seems like that's part of perhaps the protocol of making contact is like, here's a little teaser, I'll blip in and blip out of your reality.
And see if you perceive it at all. Yes.
See if you perceive it at all.
Yeah.
I see.
How close are you to perceiving it? That tells them a lot about how ready you might be for more.
I see.
So it's kind of like hide and seek.
Right, yeah.
Their version of it.
Yeah, it felt really, really playful.
All right.
Yeah. Last question is there a permission slip process that you would share around creating any sort of bubble reality or invitation to start creating connections with the Sasquatch?
Well, just knowing that there is a bubble reality in which those kinds of interactions can occur and feeling your way through what that actually feels like as a vibration can be a permission slip that can work for you. So use your imagination and imagine an actual encounter and pay attention to what that bubble reality actually feels like.
Okay, and then just take that feeling state, act from that feeling state.
And amplify it if you wish, yes.
Okay.
But also it may include being in certain locations on your planet that are also more representative of where those kinds of interactions would take place, which more often than not would tend to be out in nature.
Right. I'm in Sedona now, and we're right next to Flagstaff.
Yeah.
And I keep getting the intuition that there are Sasquatch there that are actually open and willing to take some next steps in initiative.
There are a few. Among the trees, yes.
Among the trees. Okay. So for them, my intuition was, well, to go out, have maybe a small campfire and make some herbs and just
follow your intuition and see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe you will get another blip.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are welcome. Good day.